So in the first go round, you actually were not just acting, you started getting into the writing of some of the episodes with Wizards. So I'm curious how that came about. And then I'm curious about what has changed with this iteration. Are you more actively involved in the production aspects and the management of the episodes?
Yeah, for me, I always wanted to do more than just act. I always wanted to understand how the sausage was made, for lack of better words. When I was on set as a kid actor, I'd always be asking questions like, why is the camera there? And what lens is that?
Why is that, do you think? What is that curiosity?
I just wanted to know, like, why is the camera there and not there? And why is that one there? Oh, you have to establish, your geography so that way these cuts work. And and if you put it there, you jump the line and it disorients the audience. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's how it works. Like, I was always picking up a camera and shooting things and making things. It was just it was natural to me. I don't think it was a intellectual decision. I was just very curious. I wanted to know more, and I would watch people make decisions that made impact. The guys in the nice chairs would come over and they'd make a suggestion, and I'd see that work, and I'd be like, oh, that's cool. What do they do? Oh, they're producers. Wow. And they're guiding the story. Oh, cool. Like that's really interesting. Like, so I'd always be very curious about how things worked. And I was talking with Mel Gibson about this when I first met him, and he said, yeah, his film school was him as an actor. Was exactly that same discussion we were just having. He learned how to become a director by acting a lot and understanding how things are done, asking questions, being curious.
And so now on this iteration of Wizards, are you writing, directing, producing? Where do you play?
Yeah, so I'm executive producing, which the job of the executive producer is a high up position where you're overseeing pretty much everything going on set. And there's several executive producers who have very similar jobs, but articulate that job a little differently. So for me, being one of the people that kind of put this together in the first place, I'm looking out for the heart. I'm looking out for the humor. I'm looking out just for the macro level themes that I think made the original show special, and I'm trying to be a guardian of that, for lack of better words, throughout this new series. So that's like really, really important for me, is making sure that there's these wonderful familial themes and values. It's like the Robinsons always stick together, right? It's this classic message, but we're the Russos. The Russos always stick together. So it's this, I think the show is a great vehicle for family values, and a way that, I'll tell you a couple stories. When I was a teenager, I realized the power of story when I was in another country and I met this kid, and this kid was like, hey, I have a bad family, and your show showed me that families can stick together, and I thought I never wanted a family until I saw your show.
Wow.
And your show made me realize that one day I can have a family that can stick together, and thank you for that. And I was like, whoa, I didn't even think of that. And I have countless stories like this, including stories of like kids who were suicidal, who needed a laugh, like desperately in a moment needed a laugh, and our show was there for them and like took them off of a very dark path. So this stuff really matters to me, the power of storytelling, the power of art to pierce the soul in a way that no intellectual exercise can. And you might look at a sitcom or a funny show and just be like, oh, it's just something I'll have a beer to or whatever. But you don't realize what effect that's having on you. You don't realize how powerful and profound of an experience you're having.
Disney in particular has always played a pretty big role in childhood entertainment, and the morals and the values and some of the themes that you're talking about have been synonymous with the name Disney. Recently, Disney has come under fire in the news because, and I was actually just looking at a headline today. It says Disney Snow White opens with a lackluster $43 million amid controversies and poor reviews. And so I'm interested, as kind of a Disney insider, as somebody that's been heavily involved with Disney his whole entire career. What is your perspective on what is happening, what's working, what's not working?
Yeah, I think our whole industry, Disney plays a part in this, but I think the whole industry is in this kind of existential crisis, and I think has been since streaming really came to the forefront, where you have different ways to consume media. Traditional revenue streams have completely dropped off. You no longer have the DVD. The DVD used to be a massive part of the revenue stream. Like if you're looking at a pie chart where theatrical revenue comes in, DVD, and then ancillary revenues after that, DVD was a massive part of that equation, right?
Or VHS. When I was in school, I mean, you'd walk into a dorm room and it'd just be a wall of VHS.
VHSs, it's like you're buying the product twice or 3 times. I mean, you get 3 bites at the apple. If you're a studio, that's really important revenue for you, right? So that suddenly falls off, and you have streamers come up and they say to the filmmaker who's been worried about premiering at a box office for decades because they sink or swim based on that opening weekend. You have Netflix come along and say, don't worry about it. We're giving you profit right now. Right out the gate, you make money. You're a winner. And to all these nervous filmmakers who for decades, had their best or worst weekend of their life based on how the box office performed, they're like, oh, great. And you're giving me enough money to make my film big and beautiful? Great. Like people ate that deal up, right? And then on top of that, you have the economic issues where you have movies that are so expensive, effects that are so expensive to where you got to make $1 billion in the box office in order to make back your money, or $500 million to make back your money. And P&A costs added on top of that just compounds the issue. So I think there's many business reasons why big movies are having a tough time right now. But one of my core values, Disney aside, one of my core values as a content creator and as a filmmaker is to make movies with timeless themes and values. And I think you see the box office rewarding movies with very timeless themes and values along the way. So for me, that is what I'm really focused on. It's what we're focused on with our new company, because I am mission driven in a sense of, I just got back from a trip from Italy, so I'm all nostalgic over that trip, and I am Italian, so I've grown up with the power of art and the power that art can have on a mind, on a culture, and what it represents to our culture. I think it was Aristotle who said, if you give me law, politics, or art, you take art all day long, because art shapes souls and shapes minds.